Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm head of the house, First Master Corrington, and I'm going to be doing seminar number 7 today for May 2019. I'll be reviewing some international travel tips and some of my personal stories, which will be kind of fun. I'm excited. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. I'm actually going to try to get this link if I can figure technology out. I do appreciate you guys' impatience. If you're watching this in the past, then please fast forward maybe 30 or 40 seconds. There we go. Basically, the YouTube channel has, whenever you go live, it uses Google Hangouts. So I can take a permanent link here. I believe that I can post this over in our formal chat on Facebook and send. Join the live session. I don't know if that's going to make people join in or how it's going to work, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. All right, so I'm going to start off with a good screen share. All right, everyone. So hope you guys can hear me okay. So this is basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull up a travel document that I have created myself, and we're going to go over it. So travel tips. All right. Pre-planning. This is probably pretty important. Make sure that you have all the proper vaccinations. If it blah blah blah, ask your medical insurance provider if your policy applies overseas or for emergencies. If it doesn't always get extra coverage abroad, this is absolutely true. I've heard so many stories about people that have. Oh, I hear someone.
It's
Hey,
me.
Alan.
What up?
You're live on the channel, so mute yourself.
I was about to do that, brother.
All right, welcome. I did not realize that that's what that link that I sent did. Okay, well, hey, we got guests there. There's at this point in time, he is McLean Alan Castaños. He is our grand secretary, and he is beautiful. Look at that majestic hair. He's like a stallion, all carpal tunneled out apparently. So, okay, I'll continue on here. So, all right, so pre-planning. I've heard constant stories from other international travelers about they go overseas and they're caught in some kind of scam, or they're jumped, or they sprain their ankle, or any reason at all. They get in a moped rental accident, or they get hurt by some of the wildlife, and they don't have the proper vaccinations from mosquito bites, so they can get diseases. They can not get medical coverage. The medical facilities in the local area will actually hold them hostage and say, you will bring us $10,000 cash. Otherwise, we're not letting you go. And your insurance company won't cover it. Even though your insurance company, actually might, it'll take several days and they don't want to wait several days. It's kind of a nightmare. So just save yourself hassle. Whenever you know you're going to a country, check with your medical provider. Definitely always check the box to get extra coverage for medical. Also, register with the local embassy in the country that you're going to, that they're aware of you and where your whereabouts. We'll move on down here. Check out the money conversion, monetary conversion before you go. You don't want to go there and just be like, okay, it's whatever, because then everyone can take advantage of you. So know what is, don't get swindled. Know how much your money is worth when you go there and what the going rate for items are for locals and for tourists. Those are two very separate things. When I went to Thailand to get like a local ride from the cab drivers, it was way more expensive for me than it would have been for a local. So just keep that in mind. Make sure your credit card's going to work. You'll get there, and then your credit card just doesn't work because they only take certain brands, or you didn't call your financial institution and say, hey, I'm going overseas, and then they lock the card. Make sure your card company knows you're going on vacation. Otherwise, they're going to be like, what's this erroneous charge in China? So that is absolutely very important. A lot of cards have those chips, which make it harder for people that just have the swipe and the magnetic card. Basically, that magnetic strip just says your name all the card's information, your address, your phone number, it has all of that. And people within 5-10 feet of you can have laptops that can just copy everyone's cards within 10-foot radius of them. That's why they have that RDA or whatever resistant material that's out there, even though it's pretty much pointless. So keep that in mind. People can do that. Also, not just in America, but anywhere in the world, including your rental car, anyone can just walk up with a homemade device, unlock any car, take all your stuff, shut all the doors, and lock it again. So keep that in mind. Nothing is sacred, nothing is safe. Check some of the country's entrance fees. This is absolutely important. Not just your airline ticket. Country officials will take advantage of you and insist on bribery, especially in the Caribbean, Central America, South America. Very bad. Sometimes they'll just pull you a ride randomly and say, pay $200, otherwise I'm not letting you get on the plane. Keep that in mind. That is a very real possibility. I don't know about that actually happening over in Mexico. McLean Allen, have you heard of that happening down in Mexico?
Not exactly. Never actually. Um,
So apparently
sure.
Mexico is good, but just Central America and South America, like probably Guatemala, Uruguay, stuff like that. Brazil,
Panama.
Africa, places in Africa for sure. Definitely Panama. But anyway, yeah, so keep that in mind. Also, download apps before you travel to avoid getting excessive charges from your wireless carrier. You can, like, there are map apps that you can download all the routes that you're going to do beforehand, and you don't have to be on a live network. You can also purchase a cheap $20 smartphone that you can put a SIM card into, or use an old phone and put a SIM card into that you can buy that SIM card in that different country. A lot of people will go to like Fiji, or they'll go to Indonesia, Bali, and they'll get a SIM card. They'll go over there, and then they have basically Google Maps. So in that way, they don't have to go through that local network provider. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Google Maps works overseas, not very good in China or Russia, or North Korea, but everywhere else. Probably the stands too. I'd avoid the stands in general. All right. Also, bring a charging adapter. Countries have different sizes, plugs, voltages. So I gotta mention this. I'm gonna get the screen so I can like fashion it to where I can kind of go back and forth here, guys. Okay, bloop, here we go. Can I stop screen share and go back on me? Look back at me. Look at me. Ugh. So I was in London, and we just got to London. I was like 18, 17, 18, and it was for my high school senior reunion, or not reunion, high school class trip, what I'm trying to say. And we all got there. This girl, I don't want to be judgmental, but very not top of the class girl, just rolls up as a gigantic Turbo 5000 Spaceballs from the movie hair dryer and slams it right into the electric outlet. She blew the breaker for not only the whole floor, but the entire hotel, and it blew her hair back. She was shocked. She had like burns. It was a big deal. So keep that in mind, that not everywhere you go is going to have the American plug-in. A lot of places in Japan are starting to get the regular plugins, but it's a different voltage inside. So it may not charge things as fast, or it may not charge them at all. We have a different voltage in America than probably, Europe, Japan. I think Mexico probably has about the same voltage, right?
Correct. I was just about to say that. I think Mexico, Canada, and US is all good when it comes to the typical 3-hole or 2-hole voltage.
Yeah. So definite, and guys, it's like $10. Go to this, like You can get them at the airport. They're like $15, and it has all the different ones you need. I can read here. This one says South Europe, Middle East, Africa, Asia, and Caribbean. That one. Great Britain, Ireland, Africa, Hong Kong, Singapore, right there. Which, fun fact, do you guys know the difference between Great Britain, the UK, and England? Ooh, Google it. Anyway, yeah, so Northern Europe has a little bit different sometimes. North America, South America, Japan, and Caribbean. That one, Australia, a little bit different. So, yeah, mind Fiji, New Zealand, China also has a different one. Also, apply for a temporary visa well ahead of time, if applicable, especially if you have a felony. Check to make sure that your country actually even allows you to enter. Canada, if you have a felony previously, you're not getting in. My father got his motorcycle repossessed in the 60s or 70s. He went as a kid, he was like 20, I don't know, in his teens or 20s, went to steal his bike back from the repo guys. And that's a felony because the bike is worth over a certain amount. And so he had a felony on his record for getting his motorcycle back. It is now at this point in time, 2019, and Canada still says, no, you can't come in. We don't care how many years ago it was or what it was for. No. Like, he would have to undergo this whole process. I guess you might be able to get in, but it's a huge thing. Yeah, it's no bueno. So some countries will not allow you to come in if you have villainous activities on your record. So keep that in mind. And also, guys, like, getting e-visas electronically, a lot of countries do it electronically now. There are some that do not. But for a lot of the e-visas, for the third world countries, it'll say 5 to 10 business days. Let's be honest, that means 3 months. And only if you continuously keep emailing them, hey, what's the status? Hey, can I do anything to help? Is there any updates? Do I need to provide any additional information? Like, I had to do that. It's bad. So stay on their ass if you're trying to get a visa in a third world country. Checking. Okay. Avoid checking luggage. Only bring carry-on if possible. Pack light. You can always rent gear. This is especially true. I went down to Mexico last February. Not this year's February, but past February, to go see McLean Allen, and I bought a backpack, man. Like, and I blew past everyone waiting at the carousel. Some people lost their bags, and I got, I how many days did I stay there? 3 or 4? 3?
You stayed close to a week. I would say 4.
Oh man, I stayed longer than I thought. But yeah, you can pack 1 or 2 pair of jeans, a few changes of undergarments and socks, and then like 2 shirts. Because while you're wearing one, you can wash the other pair. There's plenty of laundry mats in every country. You'll be fine. And then the rest of the space can be used for camera gear, for your personable items such as your passport, your wallet, your visas, and stuff like that. Like, you really don't need to pack everything in the kitchen sink. You're going to save yourself so many headaches. And it's so nice just not having to worry about, oh God, did they lose my luggage? Oh God, it's in another city now. What? Blah, blah, blah. So I also put in here, never pack jewelry, identification, key, like travel documents, cash, credit cards, and all of that. Really important things in your suitcase. Just don't do that. That's not smart, guys. Because if you do have to check a bag and they lose it, you're up shit creek without a paddle. So don't do that. Also, carry snacks. You can bring an empty bottle, or like get a bottle of water once you get through TSA. Bring all your electronics, all of that in your backpack. Snacks especially. That way you don't have to pay for expensive things at the airports. I'm going to let you in on a secret. If you haven't traveled a lot, it doesn't matter where you're at on the globe. Every airport's expensive as shit, especially the Congo, Dubai. Japan's okay. The U.S. for sure. The U.S. is extremely expensive to buy food, and They don't have a dollar menu; they have a $10 menu. So, little exaggeration, but you get my point. So, also, always leave a tag with your contact information on your checked luggage. Not everyone is a scumbag. A lot of people in China and America are pretty scummy, so they will steal your stuff if they. But there are unique people that may happen to find your luggage and give you a call and say, "Hey, I found your luggage." Also, if some of the employees at the airline finds it, they can give you a call. And you get the tags for free at the counter. There's no reason not to tag your shit. So do it. Always pack your personal hygiene items and anything liquid in individual Ziploc baggies. Don't put your cologne or perfume with the toothpaste in the same Ziploc. That's dumb. They're going to spill. They're going to make this disgusting chemistry that should, an abomination of the world that should never exist. Probably create zombie apocalypse. So just don't do it. Disgusting. They will always leak. You're like, no, I got it nice and tight. Shut your face. They'll leak. All right. So let me keep going down here. If I can work computers. These bags, if you guys can see on the left-hand side of the screen there, the rolly ones with the handle, top notch. Now, there's a trick here. The best backpack to get is not only just the one with the straps, because they all have straps, but get the ones that clip here and also clip around the belt. If you just clip here, it's going to tear. Like it's going to feel like barbed wire eventually after several days, especially if you got a heavy pack. It's just going to cut into your armpits and it's going to suck. But if you have another one tightened around the waist, this isn't a fashion show. Wear comfortable clothes. Don't wear jeans and a tight belt and fancy dresses. First off, you don't want to look like you have money when you travel abroad. You want to look like a homeless person because then you're not a target. Also, don't wear blatantly obvious bright clothing or like Nirvana. Like, just wear very chill, dark colors, some sweatpants or some khakis, just something real plain Jane. Keep it comfortable, keep it simple. Your life is going to change if you wear, like, have always been a jeans only guy. And I swear to God, first time I wore sweatpants or khakis on an airplane, I was a changed man. The only way I travel now. So do it. Definitely. It's all about comfort. You're not out for a fashion show. Remember that. You can put the fancy clothes in the backpack, and then when you go to dinner the next night, put them on then. So, yeah. All right. And there's actually a picture of my friend Kazu. I took that picture in Japan. And no, I'm sorry, not Japan. We took that in Taiwan. Went to go see the World Trade Center. So, yeah, make sure your luggage stands out. Don't make it like bright orange or pink or polka dots, because then when you're walking around with it, you're a target. Duh. But mark it with some individual. Have a plain Jane backpack, but look at that. It has an HJ symbol on it. Therefore, I know which one is mine. So keep that in mind. Make yours unique, but not stand out too much. You want to fit into the crowd. Now, obviously, if you go to a third world country and everyone's brown, like you're in Indonesia, everyone is brown and Muslim, and you're super white or super black and American, do your best. You're going to stand out, but don't be like obnoxious about it. So, and you're going to see, and I know we'll probably come up with this on my sheet, but listen, you're an ambassador for the entire country when you're in a different country. They don't know what Americans are like. They're a homogenous racist society. You're the foreigner. So if the foreigner acts like a jackass, they think all foreigners act like jackasses. And for the most part, about 75% of US travelers are very respectful. 75% of the Chinese travelers and Russians are jackasses. But when you see someone from America acting like an idiot, step in and be like, hey man, like you're making us look really bad. But if it's going to escalate, just leave them alone. They'll figure it out. Avoid confrontation. But still, if someone's being obnoxious, try to step in and be like, hey, you're making us all look bad. So you're an ambassador for the whole country. And for our members, you're an ambassador for the country and the ASHA. Don't be a jackass. Um, and I hate when people use that word, but it is 100% true. Like you'll see it. You'll know what I'm talking about once you go. And you'll be like, oh, God, he was right. Keep that in mind. Also, when I pack my carry-on backpack, you can do a carry-on backpack and actual carry-on, so up to 2 items carry-on, and that's free. You don't even need to pay for luggage. But I usually put the clothes and the hygiene in first, and some of the electronics and stuff, and then things on the outer side. I'll do like my phone charger, my wallet, passport, power converters, all that towards the top, because you're going to be getting in there more often for those items. Also, get backpacks that are cut proof. When I was in Paris, I was with a buddy, and gypsies were having him read a sign, and I was like, wonder what he's reading. And I saw someone else walk by in one swift motion, didn't even look at him, just shoved her arm up in the bag, ripped out all of his electronics, kept walking. He didn't even feel his backpack move. These guys are professionals. This is how they live. They steal shit from idiots, tourists. So don't be their source of income. Get a cut-proof bag where they're going to go with a razor blade and it does nothing. So keep that in mind. I absolutely suggest getting cut-proof. All my backpacks are cut-proof and RDA, whatever, resistant or whatever that is. RFID. There it is. Thank you. McLean Cameron for the win. So, oh yeah, don't knock. I'm sorry. I apologize. But yeah, so also bring several photocopies of your identification and passports to keep one in your carry-on if you have it. Keep one in your backpack. Keep one in your wallet. Because if you lose that passport, you are so screwed, dude. You're not going home. You better call that the embassy. You better have enough money to stay as long as it takes for government officials to get you to leave. You better call work. Hope you have a job when you get back. It's going to be a big deal. Also, keep that extra copies of that on your iCloud or your Dropbox, Google Drive. That way you can pull it up electronically. Always have it, because sometimes government officials, like in South America, will say, let me see your passport. Look at it, look at you, put it in their back pocket, and then say, let me see your passport. And you're like, I just gave it to you. And they'll say, no, you didn't. I'm like, it's in your back pocket. Like, I can see it in your pocket. He's like, no, it's not. Yeah, that happens. Now what? So keep that in mind. The world is out to get you. So just be prepared. Flying. That picture on the left. That happens. That happened to me in Mexico City. It's happened to me many places, but Mexico City is probably worst. It was unbearable. So always arrive 2.5, 3 hours early for international flights. You can probably arrive an hour and a half, depending on the air. Like if it's an international airport, but you're just flying domestic, maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. If it's a small local airport, probably 1 hour prior, you'll be fine. Lines for security checkpoints and customs, they always suck. Just get there in time. You could do the kiosk, print out your travel info or your voucher receipts beforehand, go in, or you can go up to the counter, whatever you need to do, just get there. Also, don't eat or eat minimally with fruits and vegetables 12 hours before a flight and during. This is going to click a reset button in your circadian rhythm, so you adapt quicker to the new time zone and you don't get really bad jet lag. When you see people like stuffing their faces in the airports, you're going to be like, hey, you're going to have a rough night when you land. So keep that in mind. You need to reset your circadian rhythm, especially if you're going from like the US over to Asia, where it's like 13 hours difference. All right. Another thing, I took that photo. That was in Okinawa. America, another one's TSA. they will require belts, jewelry, shoes, laptops, separate bins, um, to be like all of your like one laptop. It goes in its own bin, and then all your belts, earrings, jewelry, all that goes in a bin. Your shoes go in a separate bin. So sometimes in America, it's very common just to take all your stuff off while you're in line. That way you're ready. But when you go to like Australia, the TSA guy is going to be like, "Oi, mate, why are you taking your shoes off?" And be like, "Because I always have to take my shoes and belt off." He's like, "No, mate, it's all good. You put this stuff back on. We got a machine. You can just step right in." So, and you're fine. You just step in the machine and it, okay, sir, you're good. So different places, different security measures. So keep that in mind. It's always like you feel like you're winning the lottery when that's all you have to do. You're like, hell yeah. It's a solid victory. This is another picture I took. I don't know what that one is, but blow up neck pillow, 2 thumbs up, especially if you're doing like a 14 to 17 hour flight. 2 thumbs up, or even I guess anything over 12 for sure. A lot of people I know try to get really, really tired and then get on the plane. If you're on a long flight, they're going to have you board a plane that has in like the display entertainment in the back of the seat. You'll get to pick out your movies, your music, the games. You can pay for Wi-Fi and then turn your laptop on and stuff. And that's another thing. Don't waste battery on Bluetooth connections for your music. Use an aux cable. It's like $5 at Best Buy just to get one. This is going to save your phone battery or your iPod, MP3, your Zune, whatever. Plug it in, and you're going to, because the Bluetooth is just, phone's dead. So, and charge your phone every single chance you get. If you just get to the airport, go through security, and you want to get Starbucks, sit down, drink your coffee, plug your phone in. You go to the terminal, plug your phone in while you wait to board. Plug it in every chance you get, because yeah, you don't want to, like me, arrive in California and be like, I can't call an Uber because my phone's dead and I'm super dumb. So don't do that. Don't be me. Another thing is sleeping accommodations. And I'll touch back on this, but the main thing is always call to confirm a hotel reservation after booking online. All right. Be prepared for hotels not to have your reservation, even though you paid for it, you called ahead. Sometimes you get there and yeah, like Alan, explain what happened. Like I went online, I paid, and we got down there and they're like, no, we don't have you never confirmed. I'm like, what are you talking about? I never confirmed. You remember, Alan? Can you hear me? Alan!
Yeah, I can hear you. What up?
I said, you remember whenever we went, I came to visit in Mexico City and the hotel didn't have my reservation, even though I paid for it and I called ahead?
Oh yeah, but we managed to get free room service after that, though.
Yeah. So, like, what was their reasoning behind not providing the room?
Well, you got to remember, we got there after an earthquake that occurred. Remember
This is
that?
true.
So maybe there was a bit of confusion, but I don't remember what the excuse was. Um, but we worked it out. We got free room service, which was always nice.
And we got steak.
Yeah, you ate like a fucking monster. You ate like a beast.
Yeah, it was awesome. But anyway, yeah, so that can happen, guys. So you can have your hotel reservation, call ahead, and you get there and they say, no, we don't have a room for you. And you're like, they're like, we've already refunded you. And I'm like, that's nice. Where do I stay now? It happens. And you're in a different country. So, um, also consider capsule hotels. They're awesome. You're not traveling for luxury. You're traveling to travel and have the experience. And you're there with a purpose. You're on a mission. Doesn't need to be like, yes. It's like people that glamp, RV camping. Go camping. You're there for the experience. So, Culture. We already talked about being a good ambassador. Um, if you're in a different country, try to avoid just saying you're American. Say you're Canadian. You're from Toronto. You'll be safe. Most people don't give a crap about Canadians, and they sound exactly the same as Americans. Learn the basics of the language beforehand. This is extremely important. Don't be rude. The locals are going to appreciate it more if you take the time to actually be like, oh, uh, hello in whatever their language. You can be like, uh, konnichiwa, and they'll be like, oh, look, he studied, and you'd be like, dozo hajimemashite, dozo yoroshiku. You'd be like, sugoi. Like they'll be impressed that you took the time. You don't have to be good at it. You just need to try. If you don't try, that says that you're disrespectful. So, you'll be better than the average tourist as well. People will go out of their way to help you. The locals will. Also, learn what's offensive in that country. Blowing your nose in public in Japan, that's disgusting to me, and I agree with them. In the Middle East, if you put your feet up in the air, you show the bottom of your feet to someone, that means you're calling them no better than dirt. This doesn't mean okay in all countries. It just depends. There's different things that is offensive in different countries. So study ahead. Oh, what you got?
I got two. I think it might have been in Indonesia, but you're not supposed to do this or whistle at someone because it means you're treating him like a dog. And in Argentina, if you are cited to go at a certain hour, if you have an appointment at a certain hour, arrive an hour late because if you get there at the time assigned, I don't remember the logic, but it's pretty much the opposite of England.
Huh, that's funny. See,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of things. Just study the country ahead, check it out, and then that way you aren't completely ignorant of what's going on. I took this picture as well. This is my. I have a lot of Cambodia stories because that place is, it's too much fun. I love it. But Cambodia, this was my hotel room there. Don't stay in suspicious cheap hotels abroad. Um, I had a friend who stayed at a cheap hotel in Paris on the outskirts of town, and then he got out of the vehicle, and the staff was actually in cahoots with some other people to rob everyone that tried to approach the hotel. So they got robbed in the parking lot by the staff. It happens. Don't stay somewhere suspicious. I know another guy that stayed in India, and part of the staff broken through the open window in the hallway, which I don't know why they have a window leading to the hallway, but went in there and then closed it, locked it, and then went out the front door and locked that. So the only reason that he knew is because he knew that that window was unlocked, and when he woke up, it was locked, and the front door was locked. Like it's crazy. They took all his stuff. So absolutely read reviews. Like whenever you go on TripAdvisor, Google, whatever, automatically click on worst reviews. Go to the lowest ratings first and read the worst accounts of that hotel. Don't read the top. You know what the any 5-star review is going to be for anything or anywhere. Look for the bad ones. Go ahead.
Yeah, Corey. This is Sharon says that she's watching but can't get Hangouts to let Menso watching directly on YouTube. Also, I sent you this on Facebook a couple of minutes ago. The pictures that you were trying to show are not showing up.
On the left?
There's nothing on the left, bro. I'm looking at I'm at the hangar right now, and you're the only one that's appearing. You're the only.
Oh, I got to do screen share. All right. Thank you. I'm dumb. Nice. Hey, at least you told me. It's kind of like whenever someone hasn't zipped their fly up in their jeans and like everyone notices, but they're like, don't tell him. See how long it takes. Okay, I'm going to screen share now. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go back and show you some of the pictures that I was talking about. So, yeah, these backpacks are the ones I was talking about. Here's my buddy. Whenever me and him were in Taiwan, Mexico, it's garbage. That's in Okinawa. I forget where I took this one. That's a Rolls Royce engine, though. It's a hell of an engine on an airplane. Don't do that anywhere. That was my hotel in Cambodia. There's Kazu-san. So he was pretty cool. All right. So, like I said, don't stay in cheap hotels or just like overly cheap or suspicious. You want to know that your hotel is a safe place and that when you go there, any of the services that they provide or local tourism is vetted through that hotel. Like that hotel says, yes, we are safe in all of the attractions that we promote at the brochure stand are vetted. We know those business owners and we promote them. That's the ones you want to stay. You want transportation from the hotel to the from the airport to be provided by the hotel. Don't try to avoid getting in local taxis if you can, especially in like Puerto Rico, because my cousin went there and got a gun drawn on him by the cab driver. So guys, I'm telling you, this dangerous stuff that happens, this happens really normally. I'm not just making this stuff up. This is like normal. So if you're lucky, you'll have a problem-free trip. But let me tell you a secret. There's no such thing as a problem-free trip. Something always goes wrong every single time, guaranteed. You just don't know what it's going to be. All right. So also use common sense when staying at a hostel or an Airbnb. I do not stay at hostels or B&B. I have standards, but just know that everyone knows that anyone that goes in and out of a hostel is a tourist, and you have electronics and you have money. So keep that in mind. All they need to do is just wait outside for you to leave and then rob you, or the staff can take your stuff while you're sleeping. Some hostels and B&Bs don't even have lockers to put your stuff in a lock. Bring your own lock. Um, Other people in the room could be really gross. Um, I think the closest thing to a hostel that I could really handle is the capsule hotel in Japan, because you get actual lockers. They have individually like really really nice, beautiful tiled and glass door showers, individual showers for everyone. The men have their own floor, the women have their own floor, and the only thing you really got to put up with that's bad is like if someone snores. But even then, it's not bad. So anyway, keep that in mind. So let's move on. Oh, ATMs. Some countries require a guard with a handgun or a machine gun, or in this case, a shotgun, to guard the ATMs because locals will wait for tourists, withdraw money, and rob them. I actually saw this. I can confirm. I did see one guard who was sitting in front of an ATM, and he was sitting in a chair. He was like this huge fat guy, and he had like a machine gun. But I was like, bro, who are you kidding? Like, if I wanted to like kill you and rob someone, it would be so easy. Like, he wasn't. Uh, yeah, he wasn't like Superman. He wasn't going to be able to do crap. So, uh, not many places don't accept credit cards or debit cards. So, and they don't carry that much. So my personal advice is have a separate checking account just for travel. And in this account, don't ever have more than $150 a day in it. And also, if you're going to carry cash, never carry more than like $150 in that equivalency in their currency. Because if someone, I guarantee it, these card readers, some of them are bugged to copy your code down. I mean, even in the US, one time I was in Atlanta, I went to Burger King, and that was the only expenditure I had. 6 hours later, my card was getting spent on booze in Seattle. So, I mean, it just because you go to a franchise doesn't mean their employees are all angels. All right. So just expect when you go abroad and you use your card, someone will steal your card number. So just know, hey, I shouldn't have put a lot of money in this account. Also, don't carry $150 because you will probably eventually be robbed someday. So just don't carry that much. Also, I would highly suggest carrying a fake phone and a fake wallet for when you are robbed, not if. So then that way you give them a phone, you give them the wallet, they hightail it out of there, and you still got your real stuff. I know that there's some really uncomfortable and kind of awkward chest straps that people wear that keep their phone in their wallet on their chest between their breasts. Um, I've never worn them. I've heard people that say, yeah, I love them. So I don't know. Anyway, plan routes ahead of time and travel services. And like I said, make sure they're vetted by the hotel. Make sure you know the routes that you're going to take and make sure you let someone know those routes. Because if you disappear, no one's going to know where you are or how to help. Many countries lack safety regulations. So this is where Darwinism comes into play. And be aware that of what you can and cannot bring back into the United States. Definitely keep that in mind. All right. And if you mail stuff, like if you try to sneak something back into the States, cool, you might get away with it. If you try to mail it, you absolutely will not get away with it. So customs checks everything that is mailed from a different country, but they maybe will check you if you check it, carry it yourself back. So, and like, I bought like a mask, a devil mask with actual goat horns in it. And I was at the airport in Mexico, and the customs officer, man, I feel like I got to look at someone when I talk for this part. Here we go. So I was, the officer was like standing in front of the gate where people were boarding, and he's like, "Did you buy anything here?" And I'm literally holding a bag in the airport, and I'm like, no. He's like, "Okay, good, on board." I was like, "Are you serious right now?" Okay. And so like I get on, and then we land back in the country, and then customs is randomly checking people that are just kind of fanning out towards the exit. And I'm like, be a white dude with doing white dude things. And so I like pretend to talk on my phone. I'm like, "Yes, I did see that quarterly review. Yes, our stocks are clearly going up. Oh yes, buy now, sell low, short the stock, blah blah blah." And customs literally was like, "Oh, he's a white dude doing white people things," and they shot past me, and I was like, "Yes, nailed it." And the canines were going for someone else, and I was like, "Yeah, so you can cheese it, so just keep that in mind. There's a chance." So anyway, let me go back to my screen review here. Here we go. All right, so this is something I took this picture as well. This type of transportation in Cambodia is usually like a little cart being pulled by a motorcycle, as you can see there. That driver, he is called this form of transportation is called a tuk-tuk. T-U-K, T-U-K, tuk-tuk. Doesn't matter if it's a tuk-tuk, if it's a taxi, if it's a limo. Always take a picture of the driver's information. So then, and make sure that they know that you took a picture of their driver's information. So then that way, if they're professionals, they know. If they're scummy, they'll be nervous. This is extremely important. And make sure that you make it apparent that my friends know where I'm at. I just sent them this picture, even if you have to lie. Okay? Be like, "Oh, my friends, I just want to let them know who, show them, your name is so exotic." Tell them something like that. But another thing is that if you're in a different country, be aware they're going to drive like maniacs, especially in Mexico. I'd say the worst driving I've ever seen in my life is in Kuwait. But they will drive like maniacs compared to the terrible slow driving in US and in Japan. Don't be afraid. Okay, be afraid. They're professionals, but definitely find the oh shit handle and hold on tight. So also public transportation in other countries is typically pretty awesome and always on time, down to the minute. Use them to avoid spending tons of cash. I know you all can read, but there's not really anything else that I can say to that because it is 100% true. Take Shinkansen in Osaka down to Kyoto. It's like $30. It's super fast. Take the railways in Tokyo. China, maybe a little populated. You might want to go with the private escort, but still, like transportation is way cheaper there. Not in the US. The US is like Greyhound, what a shit bucket. I took the bus down in Mexico down to Pueblo City, and I was like, dang, this is like a business office, like a corporate, like it's nice. It's crazy.
I
Okay.
just want to mention that. I want to mention that. Yeah, the bus that you took there was, fancy and whatnot. You actually took a pretty good nap in there. But then there's the shitty public buses. Like if you got on one of those buses, you are gonna appreciate the Greyhound bus for the rest of your life.
Yeah, some countries, like especially in Indonesia, Indonesia has these forms of vehicles that are just kind of whatever they can piece together. Lawnmower engines put together on here. Let me show you guys. Indonesia uh, vehicle. I could say vehicle. Oh, actually, Philippines. Philippines. I'm sorry. I'm done. What am I doing? What is happening? Thanks for being patient, y'all. Um, Philippines. Apparently, I can't spell. Crazy vehicles. It's no joke, guys. This happens. Their vehicles are just insane, and it's like whatever they can just kind of piece together. But so yeah, just depends on the country. So anyway, foods. Be open minded, but also be aware of what foods can be eaten raw and what must be cooked. Now, I realize that some of you have personal preference. You're like, oh my God, sushi. I would never eat that. Raw fish. Oh, that's disgusting. But using your comments, like, sure, that's your preference. If you don't want raw meat, I get it. That's your preference. But don't be an idiot and realize that you can eat that and you will not die. You just won't like the taste or you won't like the texture. Know what you can and cannot eat. This pile of bugs I saw not a fan. I don't know how long they've been sitting there. If they were cooked thoroughly, I could get parasites from them. Um, for example, the locals may be used to eating a certain type of food, but when you eat it, you'll get diarrhea because your body is like, what did you just put in me? It's a completely different environment and culture. Keep that in mind. Raw red meats can be eaten fresh, raw. Duck, beef, goat, stuff like that. Shark can be eaten raw if it's fresh, but insects absolutely have to be cooked. All right. All right. This is extremely important. This hits home with me. Do not drink water or get ice or even get an ice cream cone from Dairy Queen in a dirty third world country. I say dirty because they drag ice blocks through the streets, cut them off, whittle them down, and sell them to different places. Yes, that happens. Don't ever eat raw foods from local water sources because they contain bacteria. Blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. Okay. Otherwise, you'll be visiting a local hospital to get antibiotics to cure your endless bloody diarrhea and vomiting because you got dysentery. I say that this happened to a few members. Let me say, uh, it happened to me. So I'm in Cambodia. I hired a cab driver to drive me 6 hours up from Phnom Penh to Siem Reap. By the way, it only cost me $85 for that cab ride and 6 hours. And I was like, you know what? Let's the next day, let's do the Mekong River and do like a tour. And we did Tonle Sap Lake and all that. And the tour guides started eating raw shrimp and like out of the river. And I was like, he's doing it. I guess I can too. He's dipping it in like tartar sauce or whatever. I'm like, okay. So I did it. And I was like, ate it through the tail in the water. I was like, heck yeah. And then we had snake and all kinds of stuff. I got dysentery. Um, my body was not used to it, as was. For the next 2 days, I had diarrhea every 30 minutes. And to ensure that my body didn't shut down, I had to drink untold amounts of water. I could not eat food, otherwise I vomited. My body could not handle food for 2 days. I probably lost like 10 pounds. It was crazy. I was just blah, like just starving. Um, and then thank God we finally got on the airplane, landed in Taiwan. They have these giant TV screens with heat signatures that you can see everyone's yellow. And then I'm bright red, and a red alarm light goes, whoop, 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 and I'm like, oh crap, no. And of course, because I have a fever, I'm really, really hot. And because I have dysentery. And these dudes in white suits come out of the woodworks, out of the walls, and they're yelling Chinese at me or Taiwanese. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm white. And they're like, oh, come with me. And I was like, oh, that's scary. So they took me down. Apparently, the Taiwan International Airport has a whole medical facility. So they took me down over there, and they're like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I have dysentery, probably. And they're like, oh, that's easy. I'm like, what do you mean that's easy? I've been miserable for like 2 or 3 days. Kill me. Please kill me. And they're like, oh, no. And they brought out like a little bitty, tiny little Ziploc baggie, had like 5 pills in it. And they're like, antibiotics will fix. And I'm like, oh, great. My medical, oh God, I don't know if my health insurance is going to cover this. I don't have much money on hand. He's like, oh no, is made in China, is cheap. I'm like, how much is cheap? He's like, $3. I was like, excuse you? He's like, yeah, $3. And I was like, fucking sold. Give me that shit. And by the time we landed back in Japan, I was cured. I didn't even have this diarrhea anymore. Dead serious. Antibiotics are your friend. But they needed to know what kind of sickness I had to give me the right type of antibiotic. But still, don't eat raw local meats from a different country if you're not willing to take that chance. And absolutely do not drink the water. This includes opening your eyes in the swimming pool. Did that. Turns out they don't use chlorine. They use whatever chemicals they can get their hands on. So my eyes burned for like a day and a half. In the shower, don't gargle. Oh! You're in the shower and you're just like, you'll get dysentery. Don't do it. Don't drink the water in Mexico either. So let me see here. What else? I'm going to share my screen once again. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. All right. So this happens. Avoid traveling unless you're a secret crowned, guys. Try to avoid traveling alone or going off the beaten path, because if you are alone and you have scheduled times with family and friends, then you'll be good. But if you do not have scheduled check-in times and you are killed or sold into human trafficking, robbed, falsely arrested, held hostage, no one's coming to save you. Also, this is like the first rule of caving, and boating. Absolutely let people know where you're going and what time you expect to check back in. Let others and locals know that people know where you are and that they know that you have to check in. So even if you have to lie, like if you go somewhere and you sit down at a table and you're like, yeah, no one even knows I'm here, they're gonna rob you, dude. But if you're like, oh yeah, I have a meeting in 1 hour. I'm, like people know where I am. I'm blah blah blah. Like it doesn't matter how nice that person is. They could seem like Gandhi. They could always be trying to falsely lure you into a trap. They're supposed to be nice, so then they can sell you as a slave. It's called human trafficking, guys. Like in Houston, human traffickers will find women, um, that are in their teens and 20s, they'll put a shirt under a windshield wiper, and that lets the human traffickers know. Like a person will go scout out that it's actually a young girl that owns the vehicle, and then they'll put a shirt or like a shirt or a jacket under that windshield wiper, and the human traffickers come later, and whenever she's alone and goes to get back in her vehicle, then they try to abduct her. So that happens in the States, it happens everywhere. So keep that in mind. Also, snakes, venomous insects. um, I recommend just going to Bass Pro Shop, spending the $150, getting snake proof boots. Don't wear sneakers or flip flops if you're going to South America or a lot of places in the US, definitely not Australia. And this is definitely the case if you plan to hike, trail, blah, blah, blah. Here's the main thing, guys. If you are going to go somewhere, be aware of what type of snakes will be in the area you're going to be hiking in. So then that way, and also know if there's an anti-venom station, ranger stations, police stations along the way. Because if you get bit, you need to immediately know where to go and keep in mind what type of snake it looked like. And if you already reviewed and know what kind of snakes are going to be along the trail, you can say, oh, it's a cottonmouth, or it's blah, 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 a bullhead. Right? And if you guys get stranded, severely injured, if your leg gets crushed and just mangled while you are hiking, you know where the closest ranger stations are. Common sense, scout the mission out beforehand. Many people in third world countries make $3 a day, guys, and they get by just fine. This is their life. This is not, they weren't like you and me, where making, between $1,500 a month and $5,000 a month. For most people, that's what we make in America. That's normal to us. To them, $1,500 is like becoming a millionaire, like the lottery. It's never happened to them, so they don't even know what it's like. Don't feel bad, because that's just the culture. They were born into it. They're used to it, and they're happy. All right. Don't feel bad, because, like I said, they enjoy taking money away from dumb tourists, because they're like, oh, tourists will feel bad for me. Some of them even have jobs, cars, and pretend to be homeless. And also don't feed the wildlife. But seriously, if you see a beggar, do not give them money. Ignore them. Pretend they don't even exist. Make sure you're keeping your hands on all your wallets and everything, and make sure they don't have a weapon, where if you ignore them, they try to attack you. Do not engage with them. That goes the same in any city in the US. Bunch of scam artists trying to get you. Don't even talk. They don't exist. Don't talk to them. They aren't worth your time. All right. Another additional tips and tricks. This is an actual map that I had to use for the subway in Tokyo, guys. Like I said before, try to learn some of the language before you go, because sometimes it's not in English. And also, you'll know, hey, I'm supposed to go here, here, and here. Yeah, that's really important. Here's an example of my Cambodian visa that I got. Like I said, they'll have instructions. It looks all official, but I actually had to keep following up with them just to make sure they did what they're supposed to. So anyway, guys, I'm really glad that you guys could join me. I hope I gave some good travel tips, some good advice. That's just basically what I've learned in my experience. I'm not saying I'm like this super worldly traveler, but I mean, like I've gone to a few countries, and this is what I've learned. So, Alan, do you have anything to add?
Me, not really.
Damn right you don't. So yeah, yeah, that's it, guys. And yeah, we'll have another seminar. I'll tell you what, we'll try to do a funny seminar at the family reunion next month. That'll be funny. This is on jet skiing. So anyway, love y'all. FTH.
FTH.